In January 2013, a 21-year-old woman arrived alone in Los Angeles with a backpack on her shoulders and a journal full of dreams. Her name was Elisa Lam, a Canadian student from Vancouver who loved books, movies, and traveling. Elisa had a blog where she wrote about her life, her fears, and her hopes. She had planned this trip as a solo adventure along the west coast of the United States. To save money, she chose to stay at the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. What she didn't know was that this building carried a history of deaths, murders, and tragedies that few hotels in the world could match. The Cecil Hotel was built in 1924 and had already been the site of at least 16 confirmed deaths over the decades. Two serial killers, Richard Ramirez and Jack Unterweger, had stayed there while committing their crimes. The surrounding neighborhood was dominated by poverty, drugs, and homeless people wandering the dark streets. But Elisa didn't know any of this. Or maybe she did, and it was precisely the mystery of the place that drew her in. That was who she was: curious, brave, and a little reckless. In her first days there, Elisa sent messages to her family, telling them about Los Angeles, the museums she had visited, the food she had tried. She seemed happy. And then, on February 1st, 2013, Elisa Lam simply disappeared. She didn't return to her room. She stopped answering messages. She stopped contacting anyone. Her family panicked and called the authorities. The Los Angeles Police Department launched an investigation inside the Cecil Hotel. Rooms were searched. Common areas were checked. Nothing. Elisa had vanished as though the hotel had swallowed her whole. Then, 3 weeks later, something emerged that would change everything. Desperate for leads, authorities released footage from the hotel's security cameras to the public. The video was from an elevator on one of the Cecil Hotel's upper floors, and what it showed was disturbing in a way that no words can fully describe. Elisa appears in the elevator pressing multiple floor buttons at the same time. She peers out into the hallway as if afraid of someone in the corridor. She hides in the corner of the elevator. The door doesn't close. For minutes, the door simply stays open, as if something invisible was preventing it from shutting. Then, Elisa steps out of the elevator and begins to behave in a completely strange way. She moves her arms slowly and fluidly, almost as if she's dancing. She makes gestures in the air that have no logical explanation. She appears to be talking to someone who isn't there. And then she disappears from the corridor. The elevator door finally closes. The video ended and the entire world collapsed. Millions of people watched those images and tried to find an explanation. Some said she had been drugged. Others believed she had experienced a psychotic episode since she was known to struggle with bipolar disorder. Some went further, claiming she had been in contact with something supernatural. The paranormal theory spread through the internet like an unstoppable fire. People pointed to the movement of her arms, so slow, so deliberate, so impossible to understand. Others noticed that the elevator door seemed to wait, as if obeying something human eyes couldn't see. And then came the discovery that turned a mystery into real horror. On February 19, 2013, almost 3 weeks after Elisa disappeared, hotel maintenance workers were sent to investigate a complaint from guests. The water tasted strange, the pressure was low, the color was dark. The workers climbed to the roof of the Cecil Hotel to check the water tanks, and when they opened the lid of one of the tanks, they found Elisa Lam's body floating in the dark water. She was naked. Her clothes were inside the tank beside her. The official cause of death was accidental drowning, but the questions left behind were impossible to ignore. How did Elisa reach the roof, which was locked and protected by an alarm? How did she manage to open the tank lid, far too heavy for one person to lift easily? How did she get inside the tank and close the lid from within? And how did no one find her there for nearly 3 weeks, even as searches were underway? And why had hotel guests been drinking, bathing, and brushing their teeth with that water for weeks? Police closed the case as accidental, with no evidence of a crime. Toxicology tests showed the presence of psychiatric medication in her system, leading many to believe she had experienced a breakdown and accidentally locked herself in the tank. But the physics of the tank were never fully explained. The lid weighed over 30 kilograms. The tank stood more than 2 meters tall. There was no easily accessible external ladder. The rooftop was locked, and yet Elisa made it there. Her blog continued to update automatically for months after her death, with posts she had scheduled before leaving home. Each new post appeared like a message from beyond, the words of a young woman who was no longer here. Those who followed her online reported feeling a different kind of chill when they read her posthumous words. The Cecil Hotel was renovated, rebranded as Stay on Main, and sold as a modern boutique hotel. But reports from disturbed guests about what happens in the corridors at night never stopped. People hear knocking on doors with no one behind them. Lights flicker on the upper floors with no technical explanation. Elevators stop at floors on their own with the doors wide open, waiting for something that never arrives. And sometimes, some say, it's possible to see in the elevator mirror a figure that doesn't match the reflection correctly. The Elisa Lam case inspired television series, documentaries, theories, songs, and works of art, but none of it brought back the answers her family is still searching for today. What happened on that night in February 2013, between the moment Elisa was last seen in the elevator and the moment she was found in the tank, remains a black hole in the history of the Cecil Hotel. And perhaps that's how it should remain, because some stories have no answers. Only questions that echo forever through the dark corridors of a hotel that swallowed a young woman and never fully gave her back. If you made it this far, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments what you think really happened to Elisa Lam. Until the next story.